Have you ever had a dream? Have you ever flown high and free in the sky, looking down on a world of small people and buildings? Have you ever dreamt you were a butterfly, fluttering hither and thither, for all intents and purposes a butterfly? The scariest dream I had was when I was on the edge of a volcano, holding on for dear life, terrified of falling in. But I've never been to a volcano, let alone onto the edge of one. So how did I see it? How is it possible to hear voices of people everywhere you go because of some cases of schizophrenia? How is it possible to convince yourself that it's a good idea to take a one-way trip to somewhere you don't know because you think you're invincible from a bipolar mania? My name is Christopher Brabant, and today we're going to be talking about the cause and effect in mental illness. When dealing with mental illness, it can be tricky to understand how the symptoms come to be. How does someone with schizophrenia actually hear voices? And how does someone with depression actually believe they are worthless? Worse yet, how do you help someone when you tell them that they aren't worthless or that the voices aren't real and they don't seem to get it? Well, the explanation is a bit tricky, because cause and effect aren't that simple in mental illness. Under normal circumstances, we would like to think that we react to stimuli that is in the outside world. You see an angry bear, you are scared. Someone is talking to you, you hear a voice. The cause is outside of the body, and the effect is your reaction. In mental illness, the cause is inside of your body, in particular in your brain. In order to understand this, it may be easier to look at dreams, a more common occurrence that also has a cause inside of the mind. One of the leading theories about how we dream is called the AIM theory, and it claims that dreams result from our brain being active during sleep. While you sleep, your brain is still awake, and during one period of sleep, your brain is particularly overactive. It is during that period that you dream. The idea is that your mind receives signals from the brainstem, which goes through your memory and cognitive symptoms, and results in you seeing, hearing, perceiving things that aren't really there. What is important about this theory is that it highlights how dreams start from inside the mind. There's no outside stimuli that causes you to dream. Your mind is activated, and it's because of that activation that you dream. In mental illness, people's brains are sick in some way. That's why it's called mental illness and not mental health. If you're wondering what the difference is between the two, check out my previous video. Researchers still aren't exactly sure exactly what causes each mental illness, but there are some strong ideas. Most revolve around different neurotransmitters in the brain being out of whack, or different brain areas being too small or overactive. It is these problems with the brain that cause the symptoms of mental illness. The outside world may play some part in the symptoms of mental illness, in particular with anxiety, but that doesn't mean that they cause them. Some people say it's all in your head when trying to dismiss or belittle people's experiences with mental illness, and ironically there's some truth to it. What the sentiment fails to express is that even though the cause is inside the brain, the effect is still real. When someone experiences the symptoms of mental illness, it is real to them, whether that be feelings of worthlessness during depression, intense fear during anxiety, or hallucinations in some cases of schizophrenia. In the same way someone really sees that they are flying during a dream, a person with schizophrenia who experiences hallucinations really does hear voices. If you're like me, you've woken up from a dream with real fear. The person really does believe that what they are experiencing is real, and will react in real ways to these symptoms. With dreaming, your mind stops once you wake up, but with mental illness it continues on into everyday life. Let me take you on a journey. Not very far, just to my trash can. There was this strange period of about 3 days in my life where I was terrified of taking out the trash. I know I had no reason to be scared. I was aware there was no trash monster waiting for me, but I was still terrified. After 3 days, I took out the trash and wondered what on earth that was all about. Now, if you would have been there with me, you may have told me, "What's wrong? There's nothing to be scared of." You'd be correct, I would agree with you, but I'd still experience fear. My mind activated in a fearful way, and I experienced the fear whether I wanted to or not. And trust me when I say I really did not want to be scared of the trash. I experienced this fear because of my mind, because of my disorder. I hope this video gives you some understanding into what actually causes the symptoms of mental illness. From what I hear from health professionals, this is one of the hardest things for people to understand. They'll often say, "What's wrong?" or just snap out of it, when really it's not that simple. A better way to help someone is to show that you understand that what they are experiencing is real to them. If someone is scared that the police are watching them, trying to convince them otherwise is not a smart or helpful idea. Instead, think about how scary it is. Imagine if you thought that the police were watching your every move, ready to strike at any moment. Pretty stressful if you ask me. Show empathy, but at the same time don't confirm delusions or hallucinations. That can blur the line between reality and symptoms, and can land you in some trouble. If you're interested in learning more, Mental Health First Aid is a good course that goes over how to deal with some of the symptoms of mental illness in everyday life. I want to end by saying that schizophrenia is not the same as dreams. I use this analogy because it's easier to understand dreams in relation to hallucinations. Dreams are temporary and can be determined to be unreal once someone wakes up. That's not the same as hallucinations from schizophrenia. As well, schizophrenia is associated with a number of other symptoms, including depression, social withdrawal, and flat affect. Not all people with schizophrenia experience hallucinations, in particular not auditory or visual hallucinations. They can affect any of the 5 senses. Schizophrenia is not the same as dreams. Thank you for watching. This is a bit of an abstract concept, so let me know if I explained it well in the comments down below. As well as if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll see you next time.